Well, you get a Grammy and you're doing press, and a British reporter said, "I'm surprised you don't have that Grammy around your neck on a chain."
Yes, that was said to me.
Yeah.
That was said to me. It was the next morning, and I'm supposed to get up and go do press as like a wrap up for the Grammys the night before. And that was the comment said to me before we started the interview, because that's how that reporter regarded rap. That's how the reporter regarded MCs and hip hop. And I was just a representation of it, ironically, as the first solo, right? And the first televised. Oh, well, now that we're doing this rap stuff, I guess they're going to have the Grammy around their neck on a chain. We should put a little, clasp on it so they can make that easy for them. Whatever.
If I want a Grammy, I'd have it around my neck on a chain. I remember what's funny is I was traveling maybe about a week ago, and I was at the airport right after the Emmys.
Yes.
And I remember there was a couple people who had just won Emmys, and they were just literally holding it in their hand. It wasn't in a suitcase. It was right there. We were all in the lounge together. They had it right there on the table.
That's right.
Next to their pita bread and soda. And I'm like, yo, if you win an award of that caliber, shit, I would flaunt it also.
Yeah.
I understand that, but it has kind of like a racist undertone to it.
Somewhat, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole musician thing, that's why the Bruce Hornsby interaction was such a big deal to me. And I think I met the man once or twice, but that was such a big deal to me because he's such a respected musician. And he looked me in the face and treated me like a respected musician. Whereas you had a lot of people, even when I was on labels, I'd be on labels with rock bands, and they would say, they're going to go do a show. And I'm like, yeah, I got a show in this town. It's like, oh, you're going to take your DAT machine with you? That kind of thing. It's like, okay, dude, it's like, you may get paid what I get paid, but I've taken home a lot more than you. So whatever, you do what you got to do. So yeah, there were definitely racist undertones to it, but my record crossed so much that I just try not to focus on that. And I like the fact that I was able to break down walls and barriers. And there's a lot of people who their first exposure to rap music was something I either performed or wrote. And that means a lot to me.
Well, the next big record was We're All in the Same Gang.
Yes, sir.
Which was a West Coast version of Self-Destruction.
Yeah. And as I've said before, me and Tone Loc are the only two people to be both in the Self-Destruction video and the All in the Same Gang video.
Right. It was you, King T, Body and Soul, Def Jeff, Michelle A, Tone Loc, like you said, Above the Law, Ice-T, Dre and Ren, JJ Fad, Humpty Hump / Shock G.
Easy had a verse on it too, right?
MC Hammer and Eazy-E
yes, sir.
ended it. And Dr. Dre produced it.
Yes.
And by the way, the way Eazy edited it, I thought was so authentic. Because he really wasn't preaching peace on it like everyone else was. Everyone was like, gangs are bad. Don't do gangs. Violence is horrible. Eazy like, look, I know a guy got shot and his mom is crying about it, but oh well, I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Right.
It's up to you. Something bad probably going to happen, and that's it. I'm out.
That was the brilliance of Mike Concepcion putting that whole thing together.
Yeah.
Not just including all of us from all the different backgrounds, but not trying to orchestrate what we said.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we had the freedom to do what we wanted in terms of the stuff we said and the way that we portrayed it. But also, knowing that we wanted to get the whole message across. And for me, at my core, I'm a lyricist. So even if I'm talking about something that I'm not as well versed in, because I haven't been in LA long, I haven't grown up with gangs around me, I'm not affiliated, but I want to make sure that the 16 that I give is the best 16 that I can give from my heart on this topic. And only in the last 10 years or so, when I've encountered people, they say how much they appreciate how strong that verse was on that record. Because I could have mailed that record in. Easy.
That was a great verse. I got to listen to it again, and I'm like, wow, he really did his thing on that verse. It was, 8 bars or something?
Well, it's 8 bars on the single. Like, they gave me 16 on the extended.
Oh,
So I do 16 on the album version. I do 16. And when I do it in my longer shows, I do that 16 bars.
Got it. And Mike Concepcion, he was one of the founders of the Crips. Yes. So him putting that together meant something.
Right.
Did you ever deal with him directly?
Oh yeah. No, he had asked me to be on the record. I was one of the first to say I would be on the record. The irony of it is that I was one of the first sponsorships I had was from a company called Platinum Everywhere, from a bodybuilder and bodybuilder Mike Christian. And Mike Christian had a hood background, so I was accustomed to being in business with people in LA that had affiliation. So when I encountered Mike Concepcion and he asked me about it, not only was I down to do it, but I saw where he was coming from and just the stuff that I was picking up in terms of what was happening locally, the stuff that I would see when I would do the local stuff for K-Day before Bust a Move blow up. I wanted to be able to do something that could help. So being asked to do it, I was one of the first on board. Shock G had asked me about like, yo, should I do this? Should we have digital in this? And I said, yes, you should. It's a good thing that Mike is doing. And I like the fact that despite at that point being multi-platinum and the Grammy, either I just got it or soon thereafter, the fact that I was experiencing all of those things and I was able to contribute to something so culturally significant. And this is after me running around in a self-destruction set like a fan taking pictures of Just Ice. You know what I mean? Yeah. So to go from that to being like, oh, Mr. Young, put on this white t-shirt, please walk down this alley and do your verse, give it to me. Give it to me.
I mean, living in LA and being around the gangster element. And back then, it was a lot more hardcore. Like, Crips and Bloods weren't doing songs together.
That's right.
Period.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Certain people could not work with DJ Quick because he was a Blood. Certain people could not work with MCA because he was a Crip.
That was the interesting part about the All in the Same Gang recording. At least me, I'm not affiliated with anybody. I'm Switzerland. I was driven there, did my verse, driven back. I saw Dre, I saw an engineer, maybe a security guy. That was it. It was at night. Do your thing. See you, Young. Done. And I know it's that even the video shoot, you see there was like my part was broken up. There's other people's parts. You didn't have everybody together until the Arsenio Hall performance. So that record was made, video shot, but everybody was not in the same room until that night. But at that point, you saw how big the record was. And the fact that it was putting a lot of West Coast artists on the map, West Coast hip hop on the map, and the unity meant a lot more than any previous beefs. So that's why the Arsenio Hall performance was able to go off.